Okay, so this is the syllabus of fifth module. So here we are going to deal with MOS differential pair followed by its small signal operation and multi-stage amplifiers. So MOS in the MOS differential pair, as you are aware about that, it is having two different modes of operation. One is common mode and another one is differential mode. So we'll be dealing with the working of this MOS differential pair in these two configurations. That is, we'll study the operation with the common mode input and then we'll study the operation with the differential mode input. Okay, and then we will study the larger signal operation. In the larger signal operation, we are trying to derive the transfer characteristics of this differential amplifier. That is how this current is getting varied with respect to the differential input. So what do you mean by this common mode input actually? Common mode means unlike this conventional amplifiers, in this differential amplifier you are having two inputs. Okay, that you keep in mind. Amplifiers you will have only one input, but in the differential amplifiers you will be dealing with two inputs at a time. Okay, so if these two inputs are same to each other, or if the two input terminals are shorted with each other, then we can say that it is common mode input. Okay, and if there exist any differences between the two inputs means then it is differential mode. Okay, I repeat again, if the two inputs to the differential amplifier, if they are same to each other, or if the two terminals are shorted together means it is acting as common mode input. But in the differential mode you are always having a difference between the two signals, the two inputs, that there exists a difference between each other, then we can say that the amplifier is working in differential mode. So either the amplifier will be working in the common mode or it will be working in the differential mode. So we should take care, that is while giving the input we should be able to give the input within a specified range so that the amplifier will work properly in the common mode range or in the differential mode range. That is, there is some criteria so as to give the inputs. Okay, there will be some criteria to give the input so that the amplifier will work in the corresponding mode of operation. Then we will deal with the large signal operation where we are going to derive some characteristic features of this amplifier, and afterwards we'll be moving to the small signal small signal operation. As we have studied in the previous module, while performing small signal analysis we are interested to find some parameters of the amplifiers like differential gain, common mode gain, common mode rejection ratio, etc. Okay, so here we are having two gains because the amplifier is working in differential mode as well as in common mode. Therefore we are interested to find the differential gain as well as common mode gain. Okay, separately we have to find these two gains, and along with that we have to find the common mode rejection ratio. See, for your information, this class is common to both A section as well as B section. And for A section, I already started this topic, but I would like to repeat the first introduction topics because attendance was very less in the previous class. So kindly cooperate. Okay. Because of some resignations and all, I'm handling all the three sections. So I should adjust the class hours also. Okay. So please kindly cooperate. Then followed by the small signal analysis, we'll be dealing with the transistor pairings. That is, as the name indicates, we are going to combine different configurations together. Okay, that is, we have to exploit the features of configurations simultaneously. We are exploiting the features like CDCS means we are going to access the features of common drain as well as common source together. And again, the second pair is common collector, common emitter. This is particularly the bipolar version. This is particularly the which version is which version? This is MOSFET version. Common collector, common emitter means this is bipolar version. Again, common drain, common emitter. This one is BJT. This one is this one is BJT, and this one is MOSFET. So here we are going to combine the MOSFET as well as the ordinary BJT together. So by exploiting the features of different configurations, we'll be able to reconfigure our amplifier in a better way, or we are going to exploit new features or better features of the amplifier. Then similarly, we are going to have CCCB also and CDCG. See, common collector is replaced with common drain and common base is replaced with common gate. So this is the bipolar, MOS version, and this is a bipolar version. Apart from these pairs, you will be also dealing with the Darlington configuration. This is another multi-stage amplifiers. So this particular section, third section, will be dealing with the multi-stage amplifiers, and the first two sections we are going to deal with. First two sections will be dealing with the differential amplifiers and its small signal operations. Okay. Now, starting with the introduction. So as the name suggests, differential amplifier is something, a configuration where the amplifier is able to amplify the difference between the two signals. Okay. Obviously you are having two inputs. That is, one input will be provided to the gate of first transistor. Second input will be provided to the gate of the second transistor or second MOSFET. And the difference between these two signals are going to be amplified. So that's the specialty of differential amplifier. And the main application and the main application of this differential amplifier is that we can apply this to ICs, okay, integrated circuit design. And you know that in the integrated circuit design, bulky type of devices we can't integrate within a small silicon wafer. So the main advantage of using this IC is that they are not handling any coupling capacitors or bypass capacitors in the circuit, unlike this conventional amplifiers. Amplifiers what you have studied previously, in the ordinary amplifiers what you have studied previously, they'll be using coupling capacitors and bypass capacitors. But here, when you observe the circuit diagram, you'll be able to find that is, you are not going to find any capacitors like bypass or coupling capacitors, which means that the circuit is less bulkier, or it is very easy to handle. Okay, the hardware complexity is very less, so we no need to bother about how to integrate this bulkier capacitors within an IC. Okay, so we are going to deal with only the transistors and the two resistors, which you can see in the drain part of the circuits. Okay, so the advantage of this differential amplifier is, see, the reason why we are preferring this differential amplifier is that it enables us to bias the amplifier and couple the amplifier stages together without the need for bypass and coupling capacitors. Okay, we are having more number of stages, as you are aware that increasing the stages will increase the gain of the amplifier, right? That is why we are going for the multi stages. But in order to couple one stage to another stage, normally we are going for coupling capacitors. But here in the direction, in this differential amplifier, we are not using any coupling capacitors or bypass capacitors. Instead, direct coupling is taking place between the two stages. Okay, so that is the advantage of using this differential amplifier when compared to the conventional discrete circuit amplifiers. Discrete circuit means which is not integrated in within an IC. Okay, which is not fabricating within an IC. That is what is known as discrete. Discrete means which is available in separate units of circuits. Okay, so unlike this conventional discrete circuit amplifiers, this differential amplifiers can be integrated within an IC. The main reason is they are not making use of bulkier capacitors like bypass or coupling capacitors. So this is one of the reason why we prefer the differential amplifier when compared to the initial versions. Okay, what you have studied like common source, common gate in the previous modules. And another reason why we are preferring this differential amplifier is that, see, please read this point. The performance of the differential amplifier critically on the matching, that depends on the matching between the two sides of the circuits. That is, always you know that in an IC, that is, we always need to connect one part of the IC or one location of the IC or one terminal of the IC to another terminal of the IC. So while connecting this using copper wires, or while connecting it using some connection wires, we should be able to match the impedances between the two sections. Okay, so if impedance matching doesn't take place, means what will happen? Maximum power delivery will not take place properly. Okay, so to deal with maximum power delivery from one point to another point, we should be able to satisfy the impedance matching, that is source should match with the load impedance. Likewise here also, when you couple one stage of the amplifier to another stage of the amplifier, because you are dealing with multi-stage amplifiers inside an IC, okay, you can't ensure that in an IC only one stage should be there. To get the sufficient gain, you are uh, dealing with multiple stages where you are connecting one stage to another stage. So while connecting one stage to another stage, you should be very much careful for matching the impedance of the first stage to the input impedance of the second stage, so that we can ensure while taking the differential amplifiers, because the two transistors are perfectly matched. Okay, so unlike the previous versions, here in the differential amplifiers, we should suppose to take the two transistors as a perfectly matched transistors in order to exploit the feature of impedance matching, which is very much desirable for an IC, because in IC we are going to handle with different circuits like amplifiers, filters, etc. Okay, so we will be connecting each and every circuit together. So for that, impedance matching should happen. That is, the output of one impedance should match with the input of the second circuit. So for that, differential amplifier plays a very critical role, so that you can exploit that particular feature, you can make use of in the integrated circuit design. So these are the two main reasons why you are preferring this differential amplifier. I repeat, the first reason is they are capable of providing the matched devices, and the second reason is that is you are able to connect different stages without making use of bulkier capacitors. So it doesn't make use of any capacitors in the circuit, as it is obvious from this particular circuit diagram. Okay, for B sections, did ma'am given fourth module notes for you? For B section, can anybody reply?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think a one or two topic ma'am has to take, so that I'll continue. Okay, afterwards, if you just go through the notes. If any doubts, you can ask me. Okay, so as of now, I'll be starting with this module. Now, MOS differential pair. So this is the actual circuit diagram of the MOS differential pair, which will be dealing all through this particular module. So be thorough with the circuit diagram, and if any doubts, you can ask. Okay, so as I told you, you're having two stages. So one stage is consisting of the transistor Q1. The other stage consists of transistor Q2, and that is MOSFET. Okay, to be specific, it is not transistor, it is MOSFET. Then at the drain of Q1, you're having the drain resistance RD. At the drain of Q2, you're having the drain resistance RD. Please note that these two resistance are same. Okay, the values of the two resistance will be same to each other, and the two drain terminals, they are connected to a common power supply VDD. So you're having a common power supply, positive power supply VDD, and we are taking the output at the drain of two transistors, that is VD1 and VD2. Okay, so we are taking two output terminals. In normal amplifiers, we'll be always taking the output single-ended output with respect to ground. Okay, that is, if you are taking the output across a multimeter or across a CRO, the one probe of the CRO will be connecting to the particular terminal from which you are taking the output. The second terminal normally you will be connecting at the ground, isn't it? That is, ground is acting as a reference. But here, the speciality of the differential amplifier is it is double-ended output. It is not single-ended output. It is double-ended output, where the main thing, the main difference is that you're taking the output with respect to two terminals, that is VD1 and VD2. So if you're taking the output with respect to two terminals, means the voltage that is observing in your multimeter or observing in the measurement device like CRO, the voltage is nothing but VD2 minus VD1. Okay, that is, if you are connecting the positive probe at VD2 and if you are connecting the negative at VD1, the voltage that is showing in that particular display will be nothing but the difference between VD2 and VD1, that is VD2 minus VD1. So it is understood that we are taking the output at the drain terminal of Q2 with respect to drain terminal of Q1 and not from the ground. Please be aware of that. Okay, we are taking the output at the drain terminal of Q2 with respect to drain terminal of Q1 and not with respect to ground. So ground is not acting as reference here while taking the output. It is double-ended output. And note that ID1 and ID2 are the two currents flowing through Q1 and Q2, which will be flowing through the transistors and come at the source and join together to form I. So I is a biasing current. Okay, so we can set this particular current I, and you already studied about the current source and current mirror circuits in the previous module. So by using any of those good versions, bipolar versions or the MOSFET versions of current mirror or current source circuits, we will be able to set a conventional or the desirable amount of I, whatever you require to bias this particular circuit. Okay, for example, if this particular circuit is going to have, or it needs 5 milliampere current, it means you can set a current source circuit by using any of the current mirror circuits what you have studied in the previous versions or in the previous module. Okay, so I'm not going to handle that again. So by using that particular circuit, you can set a proper current I, so that that current I is constituted by ID1 and ID2. So ID1 plus ID2 will together join at the source terminal so that it will produce I at the output. Okay, that is I at the source, which will be flowing towards a negative power supply. You know that current will be always flowing from a region of higher voltage to region of lower voltage, that is from VDD to minus VSS. Okay. And what about VG1 and VG2? VG1 and VG2 are the two inputs which is given to the gate of the MOSFETs. Okay, so I told you this is a differential amplifier where you are using two inputs at a time. So, and the differential amplifier is able to amplify the difference between the two signals. For example, if VG1 is 5 volt, VG2 is 3 volt, the difference is 2 volt. So the ultimate differential input that is coming to the amplifier is 2 volt in that case. Okay, so that 2 volt is getting amplified by a factor A naught. Maybe A naught is 10, so 2 into 10, 20 will be your output. Understood? So the difference between the two signals VG1 and VG2 is getting amplified by using this differential amplifier. But the thing is that this amplifier will reject certain signals and it will accept certain signals. Okay, so while we are performing this amplifier operation in common mode, means it will not accept any gain, or it will not offer any gain, means it is rejecting the common mode signals. Okay, I'll repeat it. If you are giving the input in common mode manner, what do you mean by common mode? Common mode means we are giving this VG1 and VG2 as same to same, or we are shorting these two terminals. If I'm not using a proper or a separate VG2 here, and rather than instead that I'm connecting the wire from here to here, that is from Q2's gate to Q1's gate, means VG1 is equal to VG2, isn't it? If the two inputs are same, means is there is any difference? No, so the difference is zero. If the difference is zero, means there is no input. There is no differential input. If there is no differential input, zero into gain is zero, isn't it? So there is no output, or in the there is no output at the VD2 with respect to VD1. So in that case, we can say that your amplifier has rejected the common mode inputs. So common mode inputs will not get amplified, or it is rejecting the inputs. So that is a peculiarity of an op-amp, which is known as common mode rejection ratio, which you have studied in LIC. Common mode rejection ratio means it is a property of a differential amplifier to reject the common mode signals. Rejecting the common mode signals means it is not going to amplify the common mode signals. You are not getting any amplified output provided if your inputs are connecting in common mode manner. Okay, so this differential amplifier is integrated within the op-amp. Okay, as you have studied the op-amp, the internal block diagram, you are very much familiar. In that block diagram, the first stage is a input stage followed by a differential stage. So that differential stage is nothing but a differential amplifier where you are having two inputs, one to the positive terminal of the op-amp, the second one is negative terminal of the op-amp. So that positive terminal of the op-amp and the negative terminal of the op-amp is nothing but your VG1 and VG2. Okay, so this VG1 and VG2 is coming towards the two terminals of the op-amp, so that this op-amp being it act as a differential amplifier will amplify the difference between the two signals. So that particular circuit, I told that this can be implemented within an IC like op-amp, because it is not having any capacitors and it is offering matched devices property also. So this can be used in IC designs, integrated circuit designs. So is it clear? I'll repeat, you're having two inputs, two transistors. These are matched transistors having two drain resistance which are same to same. ID1 and ID2 are the two currents, and you're taking the output at the drain of Q2 with respect to drain of Q1, and I is the total bias current, which is the sum of ID1 and ID2. VDD is the positive power supply, minus VSS is the negative power supply, so that the entire drain current will be flowing from VDD to VSS through Q1 and Q2. Understood? And there are two modes of operation. One is common mode and second one is differential mode. And the main important property or the condition that you have to maintain is both the MOSFETs should enter or should not enter into triode region. Means you have to maintain the saturation. Okay. Please keep this in mind. It is essential that the MOSFET should not enter in the triode region of operation. It should not enter into the triode region of operation means it should be in the saturation region. Fine. So I'll repeat, for the proper working of a differential amplifier, you should be able to bias the two transistors so that it is operating in triode region. So you have to take care this value of I. You are not going to put it like random value. Understood? You have to carefully design the value of I such that these both transistors are operating in the saturation region for the proper differential amplifier operation. Now, I told you there are two modes of operation. One is common mode and second one is differential mode. So first of all, we will be dealing with the common mode operation. So what is common mode? What is the change in the previous circuit and the present circuit? So this is a circuit of common mode operation. Can you observe any change here? Instead of VG2, what I have done? VG2 is connected from Q2 to Q1, which means that the voltage that you're giving at the base or the gate of Q1 is same as the voltage that you're given at the gate of Q2, which you can represent it like VCM. So VCM is a common mode voltage which you are simultaneously giving to the gate of Q1 and the gate of Q2. Understood? So your two gates are shorted together. Similarly, the two sources are also shorted together. The two gates are shorted, the two sources are also shorted, which means that the voltage VGS will be same. Understood? The two terminals, they are shorted together. The gates are also shorted, source are also shorted, means the voltage VGS will be equal to each other for both the transistors. Understood? Then VCM, it is a common mode input. Now Vs, I can represent Vs as the voltage at the source node. So these two are the sources, so which are shorted together. So this particular node is a source node where the voltage Vs can be represented as VCM minus VGS. Okay, why it is? By applying KVL here. In the circuit you can apply KVL. See, once you know the concept, it is very difficult to study. So try to understand. So we are applying KVL to this part. So this is your input point VCM. So from this input signal, a portion is getting dropped across VGS. The remaining portion will come around across this particular point, that is source. Okay. So you can write the source voltage as the total voltage minus VGS. So Vs is equal to VCM minus VGS. If any doubts, you can unmute yourself and ask. No issues. So Vs is equal to VCM minus VGS. So this is the total voltage appearing across the source. Now, if I am maintaining this two transistors in saturation and in a common mode range, okay, common mode range, I told you to maintain in common mode range, you should maintain this VCM within a particular limit. Okay, that regarding that limit or minimum and maximum value, I'll come to it later. Okay, so now assume that your VCM is in a range between a particular values, a minimum value and a maximum value, so that the two transistors are having same current. Okay, it is not necessary that always the two transistors are having same current. That is, the current will not divide equally between the two transistors. Current will not divide equally among the two transistors. It will be different in different cases. So now, as of now, you just imagine that the two transistors are biased in saturation region, and I have applied a VCM value. VCM is your input value, such that the two transistors are having same current flow. I'll come to it later. That is how you can set this value, VCM value, between a limit or between a range, so that your current across the two transistors will be same. That I'll come later. Okay, I'll explain later. But as of now, you just think that the two transistors, the drain currents, are having same value. So you know that the total current is I. So the ID1 plus ID2 is equal to I. So if the two currents are same, means it is obviously I by 2 will be the individual current flowing through Q1 and Q2. Okay. So I is your total current. So suppose that the two transistors are having same current I1 and I2, and if same current I1 and I2 and the total current is I, means the individual current will be obviously equal to I by 2 and I by 2. So I shown here I by 2. Okay, then what about this value? This is a drain voltage VD1, this is a drain voltage VD2. How you can write VD1? This is the total power supply VDD. So from this power supply VDD, you can subtract the drop across RD. Okay, this is the voltage drop across RD. So from VDD, you are going to subtract the voltage drop across RD, so that you will get the total voltage from at the drain terminal. Okay, so VDD minus ID RD, but ID is equal to I by 2. So VDD minus I by 2 into RD is nothing but VD1. This equation you know already. This is simply the switching equation of a transistor. VD2, what is VD2? VD2 is equal to, again this voltage is VDD minus IDRD. ID is I by 2. So I by 2 into RD. So since you have taken two identical resistors, this equation is same as that of this equation, isn't it? VDD is common, I by 2 is same, RD is same. So is there is any difference between these two voltages? No. VD1 is same as that of VD2. So what is the output voltage or the potential difference between these two terminals? I already told you this is a double-ended amplifier. It is not a single-ended. Double-ended amplifier means you are taking the output from one terminal with respect to another terminal. So if these two terminals are acting as a two output terminals, normally the voltage or the value, the measurement value that is observed in the device, it is nothing but the potential difference between these two terminals. So as you have already stated here that VD2 is equal to VDD minus I by 2 RD and VD1 is equal to VDD minus I by 2 RD, these two voltages are same. So the potential difference between these two terminals will be zero. Okay, means your output is zero. So the conclusion is you are going to give a common mode input and you are getting an output as zero, which means that your amplification has not taken place or your amplifier has rejected the common mode input. Understood? But there are certain conditions. You can't give a random voltage here. It should confine within a particular limit or within a particular range. Simply by shorting these two inputs and giving any particular voltage means that doesn't mean that it is like common mode voltage. Okay. Of course, you have to short the two inputs. The two inputs are identical to each other, but the value that you're giving or the voltage that you're giving to that input terminal should be within a particular range that we are going to derive later. Fine. And if you're satisfying that input voltage range, then this will be acting as a common mode input, and then the amplifier's two output terminals will be same value, so that the potential difference is equal to zero, means your output is zero. That is, amplifier is not working for this common mode input, or the amplifier is rejecting this common mode input. So that is a common mode rejection property of the amplifier. Understood? So in the common mode operation, your amplifier is not working actually. I mean, you are not getting any amplified version of your input. Okay, you are not getting any amplified version of your input because input is within the common mode range. So only if the input is within the common mode range, you are expecting same current flow. That you keep in your mind. Okay, if your amplifier, I mean input is within this common mode value, there is a range. So if your input is within that particular range only, you are expecting same current flow through two transistors. Okay. In other cases, you can expect a full current through Q1 and zero current through Q2 because Q2 may off. And in some other cases, you can expect a full current I passing through Q2 and Q1 may off. That is I1 may be zero. Okay, so in that case, it is not a common mode amplifier. Okay, when the amplifier is working in a common mode range, you should be aware that the two currents are same. For the two currents to be same, what you have to do is you have to short the two input terminals. At the same time, you have to give your input within a particular range of values. Then only you can tell that, or you can confirm that the drain currents are same. If the drain currents of the two transistors are same, means it is very much obvious that VD1 is equal to VD2. If VD1 is equal to VD2, the difference between these two terminals, that is VD2 minus VD1, is equal to zero, or you're not getting any output. The differential output is zero, which means that your amplifier has rejected the common mode input. So that is I have shared here. So all this I'll be sharing in the Google Classroom. Okay, for B section, I will give the Google Classroom code afterwards. So I'll share the notes there. You can go through it afterwards. And the record of this particular video will be also posted there. So at any time you can go through those. Okay. So this is already what I have explained just now. That is, if VGN and VG2 is VCM, obviously the two currents will be same. And if the two currents are same, means your output is zero. Now, but I would like to derive the equation for VOV because this is very much necessary for our further operations. Okay, so for that I have just applied KVL. Through KVL, we'll get VS as VCM minus VGS. What is VS? VS is, again, I'll go back to the circuit. This is VS. Vs is equal to the total voltage minus VGS. So you can write Vs as VCM minus VGS. Okay. Vs is equal to VCM minus VGS. So this is equation number 1. And you know the equation ID. This is very much familiar to you from the first module itself. ID is equal to half Kn dash W by L into VGS minus VT the whole square. VGS minus VT is nothing but VOV. So half into Kn dash W by L into VOV square. Okay. So here again, here ID is I by 2. Isn't it? Because the two transistors are operating in common mode, so the drain current is I by 2. So instead of putting ID, you can put I by 2 now. You can cancel 2 from both sides, so you will get the equation for V. So from this, rearrange and find the equation for VOV. Any doubts in this portion? Any doubts? So what I have done is, I have just applied KVL to the input part and I written the voltage Vs. Then I have gone for the conventional drain current equation, and instead of writing ID, I put I by 2, cancelled 2 from both the sides and written the equation for VOV. Okay. Now, as already stated in the circuit diagram, I wrote the equation for VD1 and VD2, which is same to each other. Then what is VGS minus VT is VOV. So instead of putting VGS, I can put VT plus VOV. This also, you know, VGS minus VT is VOV. So VGS is equal to VT plus VOV. VOV I already find out, so put this equation over here. So instead of VOV, I've already derived by using the drain current equation that you can substitute over here. So this is the voltage which you will get at the gate source. I told you the gate source voltage of the two transistors are same. So that I have derived now. Okay. So whatever be the VCM, if that VCM is within my range, within that particular range, regarding range, I'll come to you later. Okay. If my VCM is within the desired range, means I by 2 will be same. If I by 2 will be same, or if the drain current is same, means your VOV will go like this. If your VOV is like this, means your VGS will be same. It will be going like this. That is a conclusion. Understood? I repeat, if I'm giving the VCM mode in a desirable range, your amplifier is acting in a common mode manner. In the common mode manner, you are getting same current through both the transistors. If you're having same current through both the transistors, means you're having same voltages at the drain 1 and drain 2. Similarly, you're having the same voltages at the gate source also for both the transistors. That I have derived by using this equation, VGS minus VT equal to VOV, or VGS is equal to VT by VOV, and replaced VOV with respect to this equation. This equation I have put here. Okay, and rewritten for VGS. So please note down this point. It is very important. See, please read this. All of you can read this point. So what is that? As long as Q1 and Q2 remains in the saturation, the current I will divide equally. Okay, the two currents will be same and the voltage will not be changed. It will same, and the differential pair does not respond to common mode input signal. Why? Because there is no amplification. If VD1 is same to VD2, there is no output. VD2 minus VD1 is 0. That is, it rejects the common mode signal. Now we are interested to find the common mode range. I told you, you have to be ensure, that is, you have to be very clear that while giving the inputs, it should be within the common mode range. Okay, it should be within a range. That is, it should have a minimum value and a maximum limit. So within that minimum limit and maximum limit only, we are going to give the input so that the amplifier does not work or it will reject those voltages. Okay. So in that case, we should be able to deal with the minimum and maximum values. So first of all, we will be dealing with the maximum value. I told you the transistor should be in saturation. What is the condition for saturation? You can recall. The condition for saturation is, recall it from the first module. It is VDS greater than or equal to VGS minus VT. You know the condition for the saturation. It is VDS greater than or equal to VGS minus VT, or VD minus VS greater than or equal to, instead of VGS, you can write VG minus VCS, VS minus VT. You can cancel VS from both sides. VG you can take here. So VD minus VG greater than or equal to minus VT. and rearrange it, or just taking minus outside and cancel, you will get Vg minus Vd less than or equal to. You have to change the symbol when you cancel the, or when you change the sign from both the inequality sign. If you are changing the sign, you have to change this greater than symbol to less than symbol. So Vg minus Vd will be less than or equal to Vt. Vd will come over here, so Vg less than or equal to Vt plus Vd. So this is a condition. Okay, that is, we have to get a gate voltage which should be less than or equal to Vt plus Vd. Less than or equal to means it is maximum, isn't it? Less than or equal to means it is maximum value. So the gate voltage should be less than or equal to means the maximum gate voltage should be like this, Vt plus Vd. And you know what is Vd? Vd is a drain voltage, which is Vdd minus I by 2 Rd. So instead of putting Vg, you can write Vg max, VCM max, because Vg is less than or equal to, isn't it? So instead of Vg, you can put VCM max, because Vg is same as that of VCM. Vg is same as that of VCM, because you are giving VCM to G only. You are giving VCM to gate, so Vg is same as that of VCM. So instead of putting Vg, now you can put VCM max. Why VCM max? Because it is less than or equal to. Okay. So VCM max is less than or equal to Vt plus, instead of Vt, we have already we already derived the drain voltage, which is Vdd minus IdRd. Id is nothing but I by 2, because in common mode range Id is I by 2 only. Okay. So VCM max is less than or equal to Vt plus Vdd minus I by 2 Rd. So this is maximum voltage which you can ensure to maintain the common mode range. See, within 1 minute, this meeting will stop, but you can reconnect. You stay back there. I will reconnect within 2 minutes. Okay. Now, minimum value. This is maximum value. Now, again, you have to calculate the minimum value, because there is a one range, there is a limit, there is a maximum limit and minimum limit within which only you are going to give the inputs. Okay. When your input VCM, it goes beyond VCM max, or when it goes below VCM max, then it is not a common mode input. Then you can't ensure that your transistors current will be same. Only if your transistors currents are same, then only you will be getting same voltages. Same voltages means your gain is 0. That is, difference between the voltages is 0. That is, there is no gain. That is, common mode operation has taken place successfully, because it has rejected the input signals. Okay.